Yeah. Mr. Gill, you want to come on up? Yeah, right up there, sorry. Yeah. Set. All set, Carrie? Okay, very good. All right, so the first case is City of Plymouth versus Evan Gill. Mr. Gill is here. This is and city is here by Attorney Bauer. This is a trial set for a speeding on a city highway, between 25 and 29 over. Mr. Gill, are you prepared to proceed with a trial today?
I'm prepared.
Okay.
As prepared as I think I can be.
Okay. Did you want any more time to see if you wanted to reach some sort of an agreement, or do you want to proceed right to the trial?
I think we can proceed.
Okay. So what'll happen today is the city will call its witnesses and direct examine those witnesses, and then you will have a chance to ask questions of the witnesses. That isn't a time to argue, but it's a time to ask pertinent questions. And then when the city is done with its witnesses and case, you can call any witnesses you have, or you can be sworn in and testify. And then after all the evidence is in, I'll hear arguments, and then I'll make my decision. Okay?
Sounds great.
So Attorney Bauer, ready to proceed?
Yes, I'd call Officer Peters.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you are about to give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Please state and spell your name for the record.
Michaela Peters, P-E-T-E-R-S.
Officer Peters, how are you currently employed?
I'm employed with the Plymouth Police Department
And approximately how long have you been employed with the Plymouth Police Department?
almost 5 years.
And were you on duty in the city of Plymouth on August 17th, 2025 at approximately 1:55 a.m.?
Yes.
And were you operating stationary radar at that time?
Yes.
Do you recall where you were approximately at that time?
I was parked at Swaller Meats.
And at approximately 1:55 in the morning, what, if anything, caught your attention?
I observed a vehicle traveling eastbound faster than the posted speed limit.
Did you activate your radar?
I did.
And were you able to obtain a radar reading?
Yes.
And what was that reading?
50.
And were there any other vehicles in the radar path?
No.
And what is the speed limit on this road?
25 miles per hour.
Okay, and so your radar reading clocked this vehicle at 25 miles over the posted speed limit.
Yes.
At that point, did you begin to follow the vehicle?
Yes.
Did you eventually initiate a traffic stop?
Yes.
Did you make contact with the driver of the vehicle?
Yes.
And who was the driver of the vehicle?
The defendant who was in a gray suit.
And that would be Evan Gill.
Yes.
Did you advise Mr. Gill for the reason for the traffic stop?
Yes.
Did you ask him where he was coming from?
Yes.
Do you recall where he was coming from?
He advised me he was coming from Wild Shots.
And did you ask him if he had consumed any alcohol that evening?
I did.
And what was his response?
I believe, if I recall correctly, he said a couple drinks.
Given the radar reading, did you issue Mr. Gill a citation for speeding 25 to 29 miles per hour over the speed limit?
Yes.
And you also conducted an OWI investigation that evening, correct?
Yes.
And ultimately, Mr. Gill was arrested for OWI second, is that correct?
Yes.
Did Mr. Gill consent to a blood draw?
No.
Was his blood eventually drawn and shipped to the state lab?
Yes.
Was that done by way of a warrant?
Yes.
On or about September 9th, did you receive the blood draw results?
Yes.
And what was Mr. Gell's BAC as determined by the state lab that evening?
I do not recall off the top of my head.
If you were to see a section of your police report, would that refresh your recollection?
Yes.
Right, it's right there.
The results were .166.
Okay, so, again, we're not here for the OWI stuff, but based on the radar reading, did you issue Mr. Gill a citation for speeding 25 over the posted speed limit?
Yes.
All right, I have no further questions.
Mr. Gill, do
Yes,
you have
sir.
any questions of the witness?
I do. I have some like note cards printed off in my envelopes of evidence that I was going to give you, and you, that all have the same pictures of the evidence that I have. I have my questions written on some of those pictures. Now is when I can start asking some of the
Yes,
questions I have.
yeah.
So, what would you say you believed your top speed to be as you pursued my vehicle? in town?
I don't recall off the top of my head.
Do you believe your vehicle's speed exceeded 50 miles an hour in your pursuit of my vehicle?
It possibly could. Like I said, I don't recall.
And where exactly did your radar indicate that I was traveling at 50 miles an hour?
I believe your vehicle was on Eastern Ave at Fairview.
But where exactly did your radar indicate that I was traveling at 50 miles an hour? When you were parked still?
Yes.
I have further questions that relate to some of the picture evidence that I have, Google Maps, and showing the distance between our vehicles when she began to accelerate up the hill.
Yeah, I'm not
And
sure that,
the distance behind my vehicle at a further point in
Yeah.
the video to show the rate that she's closing that distance on my vehicle,
but I'm not sure that,
while also never exceeding 50 miles an hour to close that 1,000 foot gap in 48 seconds.
so the testimony we have is that Officer Peters was parked on the Schwaller's parking lot while you were on Eastern Avenue and ran a radar, and the radar came back with a reading of 50 miles an hour. So I'm
That-
not
That was
sure.
her claim.
That's the
so-
testimony, true.
Is that reliable when a vehicle is over 800 feet away from her and increasing the distance away from her before the moment before she began to pull out of her parking spot?
Well, I'm not sure what your testimony is going to be, but
My testimony is that I can.
well, you'll have a chance to testify. I'm not sure what you're getting at with what you have to present, so I guess you
Mhm.
can proceed.
Sure. Can I give each of you your packet of pictures? They're all in the same order, and we can go through them so I can explain to you what I believe happened.
I mean, it's essentially exhibits that he wants to introduce. He's got copies for everybody, so I think that's fine.
So, the first image on the top is a graph that I drew to the best of my ability. It shows speed in miles per hour on the far left and time on the bottom. And the time on the chart goes from 1:53 and 25 seconds, which is when her dash cam video started. And she flips her lights on at 1:54:25, 60 seconds later. And with the rest of the pictures, this first one should make more sense. And the second image is a list of speeds in miles per hour converted to feet per second, because miles per hour is also a certain number of feet per second. And the next image is from a website, calcmaps.com. Shows the distance from the west side of Selma Street.
So, but before we get too far down
Mhm.
this, I'm gonna object at this point, because at this point, you have to ask questions of the officer. If you want to explain what these pictures are, you can do that during your
I can
testimony.
ask questions.
Okay.
So, do you know the distance between the west corner of South Street and the west corner of Hine Avenue?
I do not.
Well, there's multiple pictures with multiple sources, GPS satellite images in this packet to show you that the distance from the west side of South Street to the west side of Hine Avenue is about 1,100 feet, 1,100 feet. And if you watch the dash cam video, my car goes up and over the hill in between Selma Street and Hine Street, and it goes over the hill and out of sight of your dash cam video when the clock flips from 34 to 35 seconds. So 2 seconds later, at 37 seconds, your vehicle is on the west corner of South Street as you're starting to accelerate up the hill. And I'm estimating that 2 seconds after my car goes over the hill, I'm likely just approaching Hine Avenue. So at that point, when you begin to accelerate up the hill, I'm about 1,100 feet ahead of you. And I can break down the video in different sections, but later in the video, at 10 seconds into the next minute, which is 33 seconds from 37 seconds of the previous minute when you were 1,100 feet behind me, 33 seconds later, you're 330 feet behind me. And I have multiple sources to show that. Screenshots from the video and Google Maps and other source pictures to show that you were 330 feet behind me. So you closed 770 feet of gap behind my vehicle in 33 seconds, which comes to over 23 feet per second. Every second that the clock is ticking, you're getting closer to my vehicle, 23 feet closer. And if I can very accurately measure her speed by the time it takes her to go from street to street to street to street. And from my analysis, I think she reaches a top speed of maybe 50 miles an hour when she's going between Bishop Avenue and South Bruns Avenue by the Shell gas station. And from that point on,
Again, I'm going to object. Not one of these statements has ended with a question mark.
Yeah, at this point, what you're really wanting to do is ask questions of the witness. So if you don't have any more questions,
have you watched the dash cam video?
I have not.
Okay, well, if we're able to watch the video at 1:54 and 10 seconds, my car is reaching the crosswalk on the west side of North Highland
do you have any
Avenue.
more questions for her?
I do. So given that at 37 seconds of the previous minute, you were 1,100 feet behind me, and 33 seconds later, you were only 330 feet behind me, while never exceeding 50 miles an hour
Wait,
yourself.
What is your question?
My question is how do you think that my car was going 50 when you weren't going faster than 50 and you were closing the distance on my
Well, we
car
have
at
the
a rate of
testimony that
23?
she had you on radar, stationary radar.
But where's the evidence of that?
She just testified to it.
That's hearsay. Objection hearsay. The video does
Do you have
not.
any other questions?
Um, why did you wait until I was 800 feet past you to begin pursuing me? If I was accelerating up to 50 miles an hour by Fairview Drive, which I'm past Fairview Drive when you began to pursue me, if I was accelerating up to 50 miles an hour during that time, you would have seen me racing past you. Why didn't you pull out much sooner, 10 seconds sooner, and flip your lights on if you're chasing down a car that you saw a radar reading of 50? Wouldn't that be enough for you to turn your lights on right away? Why did you wait until I got into the 35 mile an hour zone to flip your lights on?
I followed you to see if there was any more driving behavior.
50 miles an hour in a 25 isn't enough reason to turn your lights on as you're chasing someone through town?
Yeah. But like I said, it was around bar close and I wanted to see if I had driving behavior.
And you said you did. Where exactly did you see driving behavior? Because there's two places on that road where every single day of my life I intentionally veer my wheel to the left to avoid the bumps and cracks in the road and give my old rusty car a smoother drive through town so I'm not hitting every pothole and crack. And you can see that in the video, and I'm wondering if that's where you thought you saw driving behavior. Because you said I deviated from my lane.
I don't recall off the top of my head where I observed that.
Well, I can tell you two specific places in the video and on the road where I do that deliberately every single day. And there was a section of the video.
You have to ask questions.
So you did not look down at your own speedometer as you were pursuing my vehicle
I did.
to see what speeds you were going. Because if I was going 50, what speeds do you think what range of speeds do you think you would have to go to close 770 feet of gap behind my vehicle in 33 seconds? You would have to be going 23 feet per second faster than 50 miles an hour, which is already 73.
These have to be in the form of a question. I mean, you can make that argument when
I'm
it's
here
your
to tell the truth.
Right, but, and that's fine, but you just have to ask questions of the witness.
So do you believe my speed was a steady 50 miles an hour as you went through town? Or do you believe I slowed down and was going less than 50 or more than 50 when you pulled me over? Because I'm here to say I was not going anywhere near 50. Never even over 10 over the limit.
You could have been, but initially, when I activated my radar, you're going 50 miles per hour in a 25. That's initially why I pulled you over.
It's just not true. The video evidence doesn't support that either. Because you can see where my vehicle is.
But we're not arguing at this point. She answered the question I asked.
I'm trying to think of further questions
Okay.
without just going through the images to show the speeds. no further questions.
Turn power and redirect.
No redirect and no further witnesses.
Okay, thank you. So Mr. Gill, if you want to testify, we'll have you stand up and be sworn in.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you are about to give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Please state and spell your name for the record.
Evan Gill, Evanguell.
Mr. Gill, you can go ahead.
Yes, so I worked 12 hours that day. I worked 12-hour days every single week. I worked between 50 and 60 hours a week, every single week, doing physical labor. I personally handle over 1 million pounds of cheese through physical or my intellectual labor, driving a forklift and building pallets and shipping out trailers full of product. I work very hard for my money, and I worked 12 hours on that Friday and came home to see my wife, and we went to go get a snack at the gas station at almost 2 in the morning, and I drove through town the same way I always drive through town. It's a principle of mine taught by my parents to never go over 10 over the speed limit. Whatever you do, never go more than 10 over. And I followed that pretty much my entire adult life. I haven't had a speeding ticket since 2015. I've never even been pulled over in the city of Plymouth, where I was raised and grew up, for speeding. I've never even been accused of speeding. And I wasn't going more than 10 over the entire time she pursued me. And I denied her claims of 50 miles an hour over and over and over because I knew it wasn't true. And then I saw the video evidence. Really, I thought she was bluffing, and I took a risk on calling her bluff and denying it, knowing that I could have been wrong once I saw the evidence. Maybe I was accidentally going up that fast or close to that fast. And then I saw the dash cam video, and I saw that I was proven right from that night when I denied it over and over and over and told her I definitely don't go 50 in the 25. And I've analyzed the speed of her vehicle as shown in this graph that I drew just to the best of my ability. I'm not a scientist or an expert, but the truth is that you were about 1,100 feet behind me, and 33 seconds later you were only 330 feet behind me. And I've measured your speed to find that I don't even know if you reached 50 miles an hour. I think your top speeds were around 49, 50, maybe 51, depending how you do the measurements with the satellite websites. And then you slowed down to about 46 miles an hour from the Shell gas station to Highland Avenue, and then slowed down even more down to 43 to 44 miles an hour in the final 750 feet before you flipped your lights on when you were just 100 feet behind me. And based on the measurement of your speed and your average speeds during that time being about 46, 47 miles an hour, and knowing that you were closing distance on my vehicle at 23 feet per second every single second, if you look at my chart converting miles per hour to feet per second, you can see that she was chasing down a vehicle that was going about 30, 31 miles an hour through town, and just started to accelerate up to 35 in the final feet before I passed the 35 mile an hour sign, and then got pulled over when I was in the 35 zone. Still maybe not even going 35. So I knew that my speed, after watching the video, never exceeded 10 over the limit, never exceeded 34 miles an hour. And I wasn't going to accept punishment for going double the speed limit. It's not only something I didn't do, it's something I wouldn't do. I'm not a teenager who just got his license. I don't have the need for speed. My car is 2009 and full of rust and has 6 code lights on the dashboard, and I don't push the engine to speed with my car anywhere, especially after a cold start. Starting my car after 4 hours of being in the parking lot since I had been home from my work shift that night. It's just something I don't do, is go more than 10 over the limit, and definitely not 25 over. And I have a packet of evidence. I have a Wisconsin Department of Transportation map of Plymouth where I added some carpenter square emojis to show that they match up with the legend on the bottom left of the map, to show that 0.5 miles is about the distance from Selma Street to the 35 mile an hour sign, which confirms the rest of my measurements. And I have an image of my dashboard and how small it looks from when I'm sitting in my seat. And I have another picture of my speedometer with arrows pointing to the 25 mile an hour speed limit and the 35 mile an hour speed limit, and my speed when she began to pursue me, my speed when she flipped her lights on, her average speed as she closed that 1,000 feet of gap, and the accused speed, which is faster than all of them. So we could, if we need to watch the video so you can see that my measurements are accurate based on how fast she is traveling through town to close that distance on my vehicle. But I need to know that I'm not gonna get pulled over and accused of going 25 over the speed limit again if I accidentally go 5 to 6 over 30, 31 miles an hour through an empty road in the middle of the night. I mean, it's not a school zone, it's not a construction zone, it's not a campground. I understand 25 is the limit, but it's natural for people to go a couple miles over the speed limit. And I was going up the hill when I believe I was going my slowest speed. So when I get to the top of the hill, it's almost natural for your vehicle to speed up a couple miles. And I believe from the time you began pursuing me to the time my vehicle reached Highland Avenue, I don't think my speed exceeded 31, even 32 miles an hour.
Okay. Anything further?
Not right now.
Attorney Bauer?
Mr. Gill, you testified that you got done with work that Friday and you and your wife went to the gas station for snacks around 2 a.m., correct?
Correct.
When you were pulled over, you advised the officer that you were at Wild Shots Bar. Do you recall that?
Yes, sir.
And so, did those both happen the same evening, or are you saying today that you weren't at Wild Shots on the night that you were pulled over?
Is that relevant evidence to the speeding trial?
It's just a question.
I prefer, yes.
Okay.
I don't have anything to hide. So yes, we were at Wild Shots.
Okay. And you were in fact drinking that evening?
I had 3 White Claw seltzers in 4 hours. From around 10 o'clock when we went to the bar after I had gotten home from work, and almost 2 o'clock when she pulled me over.
Okay, so you were at the bar for approximately 4 hours?
Correct.
So then you get into your car and presumably you're heading home?
Heading to the gas station.
Okay.
We may have even gone home first and then saw that we didn't have snacks or something to eat, so decided to go to the gas station, yes.
You may have gone home first, or you don't remember if you went home first?
I don't recall. We just went straight. We live right next to Wild Shot, so I don't recall if we went upstairs first and then left or just left.
Okay. And so much of your testimony or your evidence concerns Officer Peters' pursuit of you after the initial radar reading. Is that fair?
Yeah, since I don't have any video evidence from the inside of my vehicle during that time to show the speeds on my speedometer.
Okay.
So the best way I could analyze the video was by analyzing her speed as she accelerated through town to catch up to me, and the decreasing distance between our vehicles gives you a pretty accurate depiction of what my speeds were.
When did you notice the officer?
When she flipped her lights on. I'm paying attention to the road when I drive, mostly.
Okay. And so, is it at all possible that, well, strike that. And I asked the officer about this, but I assume you know the state lab of hygiene tested samples of your blood that evening, correct?
They took samples from me, yes.
And the blood test results came back at .166.
That's
Correct.
what the sheet of paper I was given, those were the numbers on the piece of paper.
Okay, and that's more than double the legal limit. Would you agree with that?
That's what the results say.
Is it possible your memory or your perception of this event was compromised by being at a .166 when you were operating your vehicle that evening?
Not after I saw the evidence that confirmed what I believed to be true in the moment.
Okay. I have no further questions.
All right. Any other witnesses?
My wife was working.
Okay.
She was with me that night.
All right. I guess I hear closing argument.
Thank you. So we've heard Officer Peters testify that she was operating stationary radar on August 17th, 2025 at approximately 1:55 in the morning. She sees a lone vehicle traveling on Eastern Avenue, what she suspects is above the posted speed limit. She activates our radar and she obtains a reading of 50 miles per hour in a 25 mile per hour zone. She then pursues the vehicle, initiates a traffic stop, and ultimately, first of all, identifies the driver as Mr. Gill, and ultimately issues a speeding ticket. Much of Mr. Gill's testimony today is focused on the pursuit and how fast the vehicles were traveling after the initial radar reading. I really don't think any of that is relevant. You know, he may have been going 50 miles per hour at one point in time, but once he sees the officer, maybe he slows down. It's all evidence post the radar reading, which was the basis for the traffic stop. Officer Peters did not testify that she issued a traffic citation based on pacing or the speed she was going behind the vehicle. It was solely based on the radar reading. So I think that is enough for the city to meet its burden based on the officer's testimony. I know we're not here for the OWI. That's a second offense prosecuted in circuit court. But I certainly think it's relevant that the defense is based on really Mr. Gill's memory and perception of the events that evening. And the state lab confirmed that blood drawn from his body that night came back at more than twice the legal limit, and so I think that his memory and perception was certainly compromised by alcohol that evening. And I know he's presented a lot of pictures and various measurements and calculations, but it's all after the fact, all after the radar reading, which is the pertinent time in this scenario. So I think based on the radar reading, I think based on the officer's testimony, I think the city has met its burden, and I'd ask that you find Mr. Gill guilty of speeding 25 to 29 over the posted speed limit.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Gill.
I object to that. There's no,
Well, this is your argument. It's not really. I understand you object. That's why you're here.
there's no proof of her radar reading other than the words that came out of her mouth, and the video doesn't support that. I told her that night, do the right thing, because I think she knew that I wasn't going 50. And she still wrote me the ticket.
Okay.
And the video does not show my vehicle traveling anywhere near 50 miles an hour.
Okay.
It shows her potentially committing the offense that she wrote me a citation for, as she closed that 1,000 feet of gap from 1,100 feet down to 100 feet. As she got closer to my vehicle, because I was only going about 30, as I've explained. I just disagree that her hearsay, her statements that she saw 50 on her radar is enough to steal thousands of dollars from me and throw me in a jail cell for 46 days
Okay.
and leave my wife to
Anything?
fend for herself.
Anything else? Okay. Okay. So, so we had heard the testimony of Officer Peters, who's been with the Plymouth Police Department 5 years, that on August 17th, 2025 at 1:55 a.m., she was parked in the Schwaller Meats parking lot and observed a vehicle traveling eastbound and ran her radar on that sole vehicle. There was nothing in between the path of the radar and her vehicle, and that registered at 50 miles an hour, which is 25 over the posted limit. She had pulled the vehicle over and ID'd Mr. Guile, who was coming from Wild Shots. And subsequently, there was testimony related to alcohol blood draw that the BAC level was at a .166. Mr. Guile presented evidence with pictures which focused on the officer's pursuit of him after he had traveled quite a distance east on Eastern Avenue near Piggly Wiggly, and the closing rate and things along those lines. I appreciate the work that you put in and the pictures that you provided and your testimony. But I think you alluded to a little bit in your testimony that you lived in the city of Plymouth and you never speed and things like that, but you've made mistakes where you've accidentally gone over the speed limit a little bit. I think that's a normal thing anybody does from time to time. And here you have along with that, you have the alcohol involved at nearly twice the legal limit. I think your memory and perception of this was compromised, and I think you're focusing on the closing speed. You could have slowed down even before Piggly Wiggly and to have the officer catch up with you. You may have been going 25 at that point. I have no idea. that would make more sense. But where you, where the officer testified was, you know, right in the area of Schwaller's, where the radar picked you up going 50, and there's
But there's no proof of that.
There's the officers, based on the officer's training and experience, she testified that that's what it was. That's the proof. There's a prima facie presumption of accuracy with the radar, so the radar was good. So based on that, I think the city has met its burden. I will find you guilty of speeding 25 over.
What
so
can I do
as
to
far-
object to this?
As far as the city, what is the recommendation?
Recommendation is the fine on the citation, $174.40.
I've already paid
So
$600.
I'll order
Because of
the
this.
fine of 100 and, what did you say, 175?
$174.40.
174.40. Are you, can pay that in
No.
60 days?
I will not.
Well,
I've served punishments for things I did not do in my life before. In 7th grade, some person told the principal that they saw a group of guys running across the tables in the lunchroom during a choir concert, and I refused. I denied it the entire time because I did not do it, and I ended up being the only one to serve a 2-day in-school suspension just because mine was the only name that was mentioned. And I'm not going to serve punishment again for something I didn't do. And I
Well,
think
it-
she knows that I wasn't going 50.
yeah, well, we have her testimony.
owe any money.
There were no other vehicles in the area. It was at 2 o'clock in the morning, so there wasn't any other traffic. That was the testimony. And so that's the order of the court. We always give you 60 days to pay.
I'm not going to pay.
And that's all for today.